Before the reflection, I want to review the story background of our entire game concept. In Studio 3, the project is to create an interactive experience with the environment by using sound as a medium to interact with the flower. The title of our project is Lotus. Our project focused around the idea of using voice to bring color and life to virtual world. We use the history of the lotus in religious texts and highlight the element of the lotus including peace, wisdom, and spirituality. During these 4 weeks, we have complete concept design, storyboard, color palette, animation sketches, modeling, texturing, animations, VR testing in Unity, and coding. After the discussion with Vicky and our tutors, we want the entire game should primarily focus on voice control as the main game mechanic. Player will no longer to use controller except for movement. Therefore, the volume checking is our main mechanic. We refine the microphone checking because during the testing, it is hard to maintain the volume continuously when we make the voice. We decide to lower down the minimum microphone volume checking from 0.01 to 0.001. This adjustment allows players to more easily control the flower blooming mechanic, and they don't need to maintain the loud voice constantly. Additionally, to prevent players from shouting loudly, we set a maximum upper limit of 0.05 for the volume. If the player voice exceeds this volume, the game will trigger the closing flower animations. Player voice need to be within a certain range, either too soft or too loud. In order to better highlight the gameplay of the games, we remove the hand in the games. This way, the player won't be grabbing objects everywhere. We add raycast system to let players know that they need to see certain flower to make a sound of flower to get the response. However, it is hard for players to find the flower in a dark environment. So before the further testing, we need to let player know 2 things: where the flowers and how to deal with the flowers. I add a particle system and lighting to the flower. When the player opens the flower, other flowers are bloom, and those flowers generate light and particle system. The mechanic of the game tells the player that it is what he's going to do. Besides of the mechanic, we think that lighting will give the player a dreamy feeling, like stars dancing in the air. The skybox is the evening scenes. So adding particle system and light will make flower more integrate into the scenes. We can add a fog effect to the scenes to make the whole scenes blur and dim. However, we are still trying to figure out how to cover up the star in the skies. Because we want to show the world changing progressively, player will not see the star at the first before interacting with the flowers. We found a formula on the internet that could convert decibel to volume. And we also found a range of normal pronunciations of a person. If we use those volumes directly into our code, it will appear that flower animation will turn on and turn off frequently because of the instability of the human voices. In addition, the low root shout will cause the flower bloom. We don't want player to do that, so we have to use another system to control the sound's frequency. We have built up a frequency checking system, but we don't know how to use this system yet. We found that the normal sounds and noise sounds shows different. Moderate sound waves are smoother, while noise waves are messy and large. And I think we can use this amplitude to control the frequency of the player voices. Players have to open 3 different kinds of flower in the game to make the world from black and white to color. But currently, player can only control the switch of the flower by the volume of the sound. We may add the voice SDK or voice recognition system to make the sound meaningful by player. We found a voice in Hinduism called Om, the voice made by Indian monks when they are meditating. We think that directing player to make these sounds might require a voice recognition system. However, how to let player know to make this sound also need to give a player a hint. During the first 2 weeks of the project, we didn't have a clear directions of what we need to do, but we spent a ton of time on discussions with the tutors and our friends to get the inspirations and clarify the directions. We at least have complete a mechanic in the project, and it works well. Besides of creating the other new mechanic, we need to polish the mechanic in the further study. As we complete the art concept, we knew what the asset will be look like in our project. However, we haven't started the development of the environment, so the next step regarding the artwork will be the level design. Discussing ideas is hard as a group, because we always make arguments to each other. However, during these 4 weeks, we both have figured out all the issues after the discussions, and our ideas will converge eventually, which is productive. We need to focus on the VR mechanic as the full interactive loop is not complete yet. Thus, we still need to discuss the mechanic for the rest of the flowers. In addition, we didn't add any background sounds to guide the players, or we need to find the other way to guide player to produce the voice in our games. So the tutorial of our project is challenging to be created. We are not doing any level design at the moment, so we will do the level design in the further development. We will continue to refine our voice control system because it will give the player a good experience, and voice control is the core mechanic of our games. We will continue to do tests in the future to achieve the best result, although this test will not be complete immediately. We are going to put in some background music, which also includes sound cues for players, because we don't want to tell player what to do by using graphic and text. We want player to immerse in the sounds and the environment. In addition, we refine the gameplay to make sure the player is able to play the whole game smoothly, so player can integrate with the environment. This requires a lot of discussions in the later production process.